Hi, Pilgrim. I'm back here with a little story, a little anecdote once told by Dwight L. Moody, the preacher in the last century. A good Samaritan. I remember the first good Samaritan I ever saw. I'd been in this world only 3 or 4 years when my father died of bankrupt. He died of bankrupt, and the creditors, they came and they swept away about everything that we had. My widowed mother, she had a cow and a few things, and it was hard. It was a hard struggle to keep the wolf from the door. And my brother, he went to Greenfield. He left home and he secured work in a store for his board. And he went to school. Yeah, it was so lonely there that he wanted me to get a place so as to be with him, but I didn't want to leave home. One cold day in November, my brother came home and he said he had a place for me. I said, well, I'm not going. But after it was talked over, they decided I should go, him and Ma. I didn't want my brother to know that I hadn't the courage to go, but that night was a long one. I had a lot to think about. Small boy with a lot to think about. Hard to believe, ain't it? But small boys do think a lot. The next morning we started. We went up on the hill. And we went up on the hill and had a last sight of the old house. We sat down there and we both cried. I thought that'd be the last time I should ever see that old home. I cried all the way down to Greenfield. There my brother introduced me to an old man. This old man was so old he couldn't milk his cows and do the chores, so I was to do his errands. I was to milk his cows and go to school. I looked at the old man and saw he was cross. I took a good look at the wife and thought she was crosser still than the old man. I stayed there an hour and it seemed like a week. I went around then to my brother and said, I'm going home. What you going home for? I'm homesick, I said. You got to remember, folks, I was 4 years old. Oh, well, said my brother, you'll get over it in a few days. I said, I never will. I don't want to. He said, my brother, he said, you'll get lost if you start for home now. It's getting dark. Well, I was so frightened then as I was only about, I guess I was 10 years old. And I said, I'll go at daybreak tomorrow morning. First thing in the morning, I'm going. Well, he took me to a shop window where they had some jackknives, other things. Well, today we call them pocket knives. That's what I call them anyway. What did I care for those old jackknives, those old pocket knives? I wanted to get back home with my mother and my brothers. It seemed as if my heart was breaking in a million pieces. All at once my brother said, Dwight, there comes a man that will give you a cent, a penny. How do you know he will? I asked. Oh, said my brother, he gives every new boy that comes to town a cent. I brushed away the tears, for I wouldn't have him see me crying. Yeah, I got right in the middle of the sidewalk where he couldn't help but see me, and I kept my eyes right upon him. I remember how that old man looked as he come tottering down the sidewalk. Oh, such a bright, cheerful, sunny face he had. When he came opposite to where I was, he stopped. He took my hat off, put his hand on my head, and said to my brother, This is a new boy in town, isn't he? Yes, sir, he is, said my brother. He just came today. I watched to see if he would put his hand into his pocket. Yeah, I was interested in that cent. I was thinking of that cent. Yes, I was. He began to talk to me so kindly that I forgot all about it. He told me that God had an only son, and he sent him down here, and wicked men killed him, and he said he died for me. He only talked for about 5 minutes, but he took me captive. After he had given me this little talk, he put his hand in his pocket, took out a brand new cent, a copper, that looked just like gold. He gave me that. And I thought it was gold, and I didn't hold it tight. I never felt so rich before or since. Well, I don't remember what became of that cent. I've always regretted that I didn't keep it, but I can feel the pressure of that old man's hand on my head today. 50 years have rolled away, and I can hear those kind words ringing yet. I never shall forget that act. I've never walked up the streets of this country or the old country, but down into my pocket goes my hand, and I take out some money, and I give it to every forlorn, miserable kid I see. I think how the old man, he lifted a load from me. I want to lift the load from someone else. Do you want to be like Christ? Pilgrim, do you want to be like Christ? Go and find one who has fallen down low. Get your arm down under him. Lift him up toward heaven, toward Christ, toward Jesus. The Lord will bless you in the very act. May God help us to go do like the Good Samaritan. God bless Pilgrim. Have a blessed day.